How's it going, guys? Welcome back to the Black Metal Rebellion. I'm your host, Jesse Morgan, aka Slammerella, and today we have a review to do, and that is of the new project called Terror Machine with their first debut EP, Ingen Retrett, which I can't speak Norwegian, so forgive me if that's not how you pronounce it, but yes. These guys, label, hit me up and asked me if I would be so kind as to do a review for this project. So I agreed to check it out. It was really good. They were so gracious enough to send me a copy, and I'm glad they did. Has 3 tracks, mostly around 3 minutes to 4 minutes in length. The whole thing is about 11 minutes and a couple of seconds long. So Terror Machine's Ingen Retrett came out July 3rd of 2020, and it is available on Stench from Below Records. These guys started out in 2018. Before this, I believe they have a 2-track demo and a single. This is a compilation basically of those two things. Let's get into it. So Terror Machine are a black and death metal band from Norway with a lot of thrashing elements in there as well. Just really good black and thrashing death. And the members are, now forgive me for the pronunciation, Asbjorn Ossefels on vocals and guitar, Ola Fogerdale on bass, and Oyvind Nesset on drums. These guys are also members of Fluked, Cyanide, and Mageddon. You will probably remember Fluked from another review I did last year. Hopefully you guys check that out, and if not, please do check out Fluke's album Darkness Devour. It was actually pretty good, and I think I gave it a fairly high rating if I remember correctly. So yeah, make sure you go check that project out from these guys as well. But we're here to talk about Ingen Retrett, and we will start off with the vocals. The vocals were about medium to high in the mix, and they were well balanced. They were executed well and with confidence. Some of the stylings of the vocals were these shrieky, rattled screams, kind of these like clenched throat, raspy yelling parts, as well as some slightly lower ranged vocals spread out here sporadically, done in the same vein, as well as some really long, drawn out, angsty screams in parts. So the vocals were really good and definitely gave this some spicy, angry, violent flavor to it. So good job there, Oostefels. Next is the guitars. Now, the guitars were about medium to high in the mix as well, about on par with the vocals. They were also nicely balanced throughout the left and right panning. They were played with precision, technicality, and prowess. As for what to expect from the guitars, there's some kind of thrash licks. There was some pinch harmonics. There's just razor sharp riffs throughout. Some chugging, groovy power chords, as you could expect for black and thrashing death. There's also some tremolos. There's also some surprising, really unique mellow death type of epic anthemy riffs, and once again, just more frosty tremolos. So lots of tricks up their sleeve here when it comes to the guitaring in Ingen Retrett. Terror Machine just have no limit to what they're going to throw in your face guitar-wise, and I really enjoyed it. As for the bass, it was kind of low in the mix and a little bit hard to pick out here and there. From what I heard, I believe it was a clean tone, maybe slight gain. It seemed to be played good sufficiently, and it added a decent amount of overall bass to the EP in general, gave it some low end. And behind certain riffs, it kind of gave that extra little punch and some rumbling in the background. So when I did hear it, it was nice and enjoyable. The only thing I would have liked is to see it shine a little bit more, pop up maybe for a second or two, and give its own voice, and maybe see what the bassist Ulf Fagerdale could really do. So maybe we'll see that on a full length if it's coming. As for the drums, They were about medium level in the mix, maybe slightly under the guitar or slightly over the guitar points, but they were well balanced and they had kind of a good environmental EQ as well as a controlled performance. The snare tone was actually fairly enjoyable. It was solid and crisp, and depending on what part of what song, it was really punchy and just added that extra oomph to the riffs. As well, there was double kicks, which is to be expected in this genre, as well as some blast beats, some interesting stylized Euro blasts. As well, there's some excellent fills and rolls. The snare work that Ulven did on a couple of these songs was really cool, really got that like marchy, proud feel to it. And just the overall composition in general was very unique and creative. There was also some heavy rock beats that he threw in there that really accentuated some of the riffs and really got you in the mood and things pumping. So cheers, Ulven, excellent drumming on this EP. Now, as for my favorite tracks on this EP, it was really hard to kind of narrow down my one or two favorites. They are all really good, but if I had to rank the tracks in order of my favorites, that would definitely be the self-titled track, which is number 2, Ingen Retrett. It just had some of the coolest, groovy, memorable, headbanging riffs in there. It had some of the most epic, heavy-hitting moments, and just really got in the pocket. Yeah, got you throwing up those invisible oranges throughout the entire song. So good job with that track. Really enjoyed it. As soon as it came on, I couldn't help but like smile and nod and headbang and just get into the track. Track number 3 was my second favorite, and that is New Dawn. It also had some pretty epic riffs in there, really good drumming. There is so many times where a riff came in and lasted for about 6 or 7 seconds, and I wish it had lasted like a full minute. I wish I had more time with those riffs, especially near the end of New Dawn. There's like this riff that plays for, I swear to God, for 4 seconds, and you think it's gonna like continue off and go more epic with it, but it cuts off and goes to another riff, and you're like, oh, it's such a tease, because that riff sounds like it would have been so good to just kind of been played with for a bit longer. And the third track, it's also really good. It sets up what you're going to be expecting throughout this EP. It really sets the tone. It busts in with a pretty quick, thrashy, groovy riff. It flies by pretty quickly once again, with only about 3.5 minutes long, and it's honestly just a taste for what's to come in the next song, because it leads into the self-titled EP track. So yeah, all in all, really good 3 songs, but that's my order of favorites. Now, for my overall thoughts on this EP, is it is a speeding, violent groove frenzy. It's intense and has incredibly catchy riffs. It has a diabolical atmosphere and accompanied with angst-filled vocals. It's a fresh and kind of flavorful black and thrashing death metal attack. The best project so far from the Fluked clanhood, indeed. Of course, I'm gonna have to go and check out Cyanide and Mageddon, but I'm pretty sure that this is their best project so far. It is a raw, uninhibited, dynamic effort that breaks all the rules in modern metal and kind of resets the bar for bands to come. Now, the only weaknesses or improvements that I could find for this was, once again, the bass was a little too low. I would have loved to see Ole Fogerdell shine a bit more and give a little bit more spotlight here and there. And once again, perhaps the songs were a little bit too short. They went by a little too quickly, and the certain riffs here and there definitely could have had been extended, or at least seen more time to shine, because 1 or 2 of those riffs in there were so good that I definitely wanted to hear more of it, and it went by so quickly that it was basically just a tease. So maybe that could be improved in the future. Not the riffs themselves, but just how long the listener gets to enjoy them for. With that being said, I'm giving this EP by Terror Machine a solid 9.5 out of 10. Each song was amazing and showed off a variety of creativity and various riffs of all sorts of genres within the metal world, and I couldn't possibly see anything else released so far this year coming anywhere close, to be honest. So that is basically my glowing review for these guys. I just only wish there was more to listen to by Terror Machine. So with that being said, please check them out. Please go buy copies of this from their Bandcamp, from the band themselves. Go support them in any way you can. Let them know that we want to see more Terror Machine in the future. They are currently working on some post Ingen Retrett stuff, but they want this to be promoted around first before they release anything else, I think. So please do go listen to it. Please go make up your mind whether it should be purchased in your opinion, and if so, do support the band in any means possible. Terror Machine are something to look out for in the future. Go check it out. You won't regret it. I'm Jesse Morgan, and I would buy this EP. Cheers. For glory, for the Rebel Alliance. Slammerella out. There's all to some